Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. Thank you to everyone who watched last week's video, and if you're new here, welcome to Sacral Butterfly. On my channel, I help people to develop a growth mindset and boost their self-esteem through meditation, self-reflection, prayer, also self-awareness, and making sure that we're just living our best lives. So if you hear any weird jingling noises in the background, please forgive me. I'm in my home and my dog is in the background playing with his blankie. So, and yeah, this is a pit bull playing with a blankie. But anyway, so thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you to everyone who filled out the survey. Again, the poll, my weekly poll to help me prioritize my topics for the week. I really appreciate everyone who actually filled it out and helped me to select this week's topic, which is actually going to be, hold on, drum roll please. Will I ever find love? Oh, love. Oh, love. So I actually love this topic. Love, get it? I'm kidding. There's no joke there. Have y'all seen that video online? That guy who goes around asking people, he like tells them a joke and then they're like laughing and then he's like, "Do you get it?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." And then he's like, "Explain it."
The auntie say to the niece,
What?
rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Explain.
You get it?
Yeah, they be wild, bro.
Explain it.
Because they play games together, so it's funny because she said rock, paper, scissors. Right? That's the funny part. Right?
Oh my God, I think that's one of the funniest things on the internet right now. But anyways, there was no joke there. But this is one of the topics that I love the most. And for me, it's been a journey trying to find love. And I feel like our society is so toxic when it comes to love, relationships, anything that has to do with male and female relationships and interactions. It's so toxic. And this isn't just for male and female relationships. I'm just saying that when you go online and you see people who do interviews on the side of the street asking people just the craziest things, and it just really waters down the idea of love, in my opinion, and it makes it toxic. Mostly you see that between men and women. You don't see that anywhere else. So that's why I'm saying that. But you might be going through a situation and you might be wondering, is love for me, or are relationships for me? And I want to assure you that they're not. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They are. They are for you and they're for me too. And so I wanted to talk about that today and just kind of walk you through what has helped me in my own journey in finding love, which I haven't done yet, but I'm getting closer, I think. I hope. Anyways, I will be chewing on some little gummy bears today. Shout out to my girl, Samaria, who put me onto this brand of gummy bears. They're like my favorite now. But I love gummy bears. And I need something sweet while I talk about this because love is so sweet, right? Psych. I'm kidding. Ignore me. I love love, but I'm going through a thing right now. So I'm in my like little negative Nancy era, but I'm hopeful I'll get through it. But I know I will get through it. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you are trying to find love is I'm assuming that a lot of everybody who is here watching is going through heartbreak, right? Like you almost feel like you have found the one again, or that person who you feel like it's going to be different with, or that person who you're like, oh, I can finally be vulnerable with someone and, be in love with them and whatever. And maybe you're coming from a place of hurt, some betrayal. I know that In my last videos, we talked about heartbreak, betrayal, right? Forgiveness. And maybe you're coming from one of those spaces where you're just not all the way in right now, where you just are so, like I said, a negative Nancy about the situation, or you're just going through the motions, you're trying to get yourself back, right? But I want you to actually first reflect on the experience and be grateful for it. And we talk a lot about gratitude on my channel because I truly believe when you're grateful for things, it really counteracts with the negative things that are going through your mind. Because it's almost like your mind plays tricks on you, right? Because a lot of times there's this sort of spiritual battle of the mind that brings down your emotions. And when you allow your mind to gain control of a situation or your perception of things without controlling it, it can really go south, right? That's why so many people, fall into depression and stay there, because you have to make a conscious effort, in my opinion, to counteract that negative energy, that negative mentality, or I or negative thoughts, I should say, not negative mentality, but negative thoughts. So when you are in this situation, if you're grieving, or let's say you've been in a period of solitude where you haven't dated or anything like that, be grateful. Don't be mad because you've been single for so long. Like I was single for a long time before, I started dating again, and I, have been going through a breakup or whatever. And, I was single for a very long time. And so a lot of times people are like, "Oh, why am I single? Why am I single? Like, why am I the only one?" Like, like, no, you should be thankful for that, because, when you're single, you sort of have this opportunity to be free to, be your full self. You have sort of like this freedom to explore the world without having to, you know, sort of be responsible for someone else. And when you go into a relationship, if you care about the person, you let them know where you are, or you communicate with them, you check in on them. It's sort of you're giving yourself to someone in a way, and so you don't have that freedom. Obviously, when you're single, you have friends and family, and you obviously check in on those people. But that's a part of love too, right? But when you're in a relationship, is a different level. So when you're single, it's almost like a blessing because you have more time to give to yourself and to those around you. But when you are in a relationship, you're sort of starting to give a little bit more to that person, and possibly moving forward to create a family. And when you have a family, then you have less time for yourself. So again, you sort of have to be thankful for, okay, I had this time, this wonderful experience to get to know myself, to really explore and be selfish and whatever. And that's a wonderful and beautiful thing. It took me a very long time to recognize this, but I did. And, I will continue to have it until I find my partner, but, be grateful for that time. Or if you're coming from a relationship, and let's say it was a beautiful experience, but you just weren't on the same page. You just found out that you weren't compatible and there was like no investment there, then, be grateful for that experience where you got to meet a wonderful person and you had a great break, right? If you're coming from a not so great situation, then be grateful for getting out of that experience, getting out of a toxic relationship, or getting away from a toxic person, a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, whatever that person was. When you break with that person, that's a blessing in disguise. So just remember that you have something to be grateful for, even if it doesn't seem like you do. The next thing we talk about a lot on my channel is reflection. And I think one day I'll do sort of like a reflection journal or something, like an activity on how to reflect, because I feel like a lot of times when we finish one situation, or we go from one thing to another, one activity to another, or let's say we hop from one job to another, we forget to reflect, right? We forget to reflect on the experience. And it's very important that you heal through reflection. So taking that time to sit down with yourself again, reconnecting with yourself, and saying, okay, what just happened, right? What just happened to me? And whether that's good or bad, what just happened to me? What did I learn from this situation? What did I take away from this? And how can I be better next time? Let's say it was a relationship where you were with a person and that person was just like, you don't communicate, or we don't communicate effectively, right? Like, how do you improve for the next time so that when you are in a relationship again, you are able to communicate with your partner, right? Or you're able to establish boundaries so that you all are on a good communication channel, right? So that it's effective. So, really reflecting through it is going to be essential to whether or not you find love, in my opinion. Another thing I think is very important for people to do is to be honest about their feelings. So, I think this is something that you can do when you're reflecting is, really think, like, how do I feel right now? Because I feel like, again, we live in a very toxic culture, and we literally are going from, oh, I don't care. He broke up with me. I don't care. She left me. I don't care. I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna go out to the club. I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna do what I need to do to move forward, right? And it's so disconnected, and we really act like we don't care sometimes. And I know people care more than that, right? And it's creating this sick, toxic culture of people who walk around like they just don't care about the person they just spent, you know, 6 months with, whatever, however long, right? And it's so disconnected and just, in my opinion, super toxic and unrealistic. And when you're not honest with your feelings, there's no way you can get over that situation. If it was a bad situation, you're never going to get over it if you're not honest about your feelings and how you felt about the entire situation. It's just not going to work. You're going to hold on to that bitterness, that denial, that, just awful energy that you're holding on to because you weren't honest with yourself. You couldn't be honest with yourself. You couldn't be honest with the people around you. When people ask you, how are you doing? Oh, I'm okay. I'm doing good. No, you're not doing good. If these are people who are close to you, tell them how you're feeling, be honest with yourself. If you're not feeling good, don't say you're feeling good. It's that simple, right? So be honest with your feelings, be honest with yourself, and be honest with others. Another thing it's important for you to do is not to shut people out. And I just talked about sharing your feelings with the people around you. A lot of times people don't know how to comfort you, but they'll be with you and they'll support you in other ways. Like, I have a couple friends who are like, oh, I don't know, like with what I'm going through. They're like, I don't know how to fix the situation for you, but just know I'm here, right? Like, because it is hard sometimes when you're, when you hear something that a friend is going through, you're like, some people just want to fix it, right? Some people just want to go into fixing mode, but there's just no way to fix what you're going through. And so sometimes they're not able to really put it into words, their level of support, but you'll see it through their actions, right? So sometimes they'll just hear you out, or sometimes they'll, try to give you advice. What is the advice that they would, what they would do in that situation, right? And it really just depends on the person, but just know that some people won't react right away, right? Like they may not know what to do, so they may not say much, or they may not do much at first because they're kind of like processing things. But either way, having those people around you who you can share your emotions with and your heartbreak with, if heartbreak is what you're going through, or even letting them know, like, hey, I'm feeling like I'm never gonna find love. Like, I feel like I'm going through another broken relationship and I just don't know what to do anymore, right? Talking to people, letting them in and letting them into your experience is going to be very important so that you can move forward and you can really, truly find what it is that you're looking for. Another thing I think is important if you truly want to find love is to not close your heart to love. because when we go through heartbreak or we go through another failed relationship, a lot of times people are like, oh, this is not for me. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to do relationships. I'm just going to mess around with people. I'm just going to do whatever. And it goes against what you truly believe on the inside and what your heart really wants. You really bring in a lot of energy that is not in alignment with who you are, your morals, your values. And so we end up losing ourselves and we end up delaying finding love. Okay. So I think it's important that if you're going to, if you're someone who loves love and you want to be in a relationship, you continue to keep your heart open to love. And you continue to go out on dates, right? Some people will say, oh, you need to heal first before you start talking to other people. I don't think that's necessarily the case. We're constantly healing as people. And, that doesn't mean you can't go out on a date. That doesn't mean that, you can't, talk to other people or go out and meet people. I think you should. I think you should even while you're healing. Obviously, don't bring your if it's something toxic, don't bring your toxicity into another person's life, right? And again, when you're meeting new people, that doesn't mean you're jumping from one relationship to another. I think that's wrong. I don't think you should do that. If you're doing it purposefully, right? I know obviously some people, might meet someone, let's say you break up, it's something that it was amicable and you both were on the same page, you knew it wasn't going to work out, and then you meet someone and it turns out to be a great match. Then obviously I don't believe in like timelines of when you should, heal and move on, right? But, obviously some people will literally move on to the next relationship before the other one is over, or they've been cheating and then they'll move on with the next person. So I feel like that's very, conniving and disgusting, but, to each their own. And, but for those of you who are looking for love and who are not trying to be in toxic relationships, don't close your heart to love. Keep it open. Keep your heart an open vessel for good things and put that out into the world. Another thing I think you should do if you want to find love is set boundaries. Set boundaries with yourself, set boundaries with others, right? I'm one of those people where, if a relationship didn't work out the first time, I don't keep in contact with my exes, right? So because I believe that, I have to leave room for the man that I want to be with and I want to dedicate my entire time and life to. So I'm just not going to be friends with you on Instagram, Facebook, none of that. Like it's going to be done, right? So you have to set your own boundaries, and you have to also make sure that you're looking for people who will uphold those boundaries and respect them. And so, set clear boundaries for yourself. Like, okay, if you do want to date people, what is that going to look like for you, right? Are you going to online date, right? If you don't want to online date, then don't online date. It's crazy because I told myself I wasn't going to online date again. And then I started dating online again. And I was just like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, I didn't respect my own boundaries. And, there's other ways to meet people. You don't have to just meet them online. So, set your boundaries and stick to them. Okay. Just stick to your boundaries. But I think these are some really great ways for you to really set the stage for yourself if you ever are going to find love. Will you find love? Yes. I truly believe that if you stick to your own plans, if your goal is to meet someone and fall in love, you will find that, but if you constantly deny yourself the truth and say, oh, I don't want to meet people, I don't want to date or whatever, because dating sucks now, and we're living in a generation where dating sucks, so I'm not going to do it, right? Then you're just really selling yourself short. So be honest with yourself, continue to push forward. I know it's hard, and I know sometimes it sucks to go through so many breakups and heartbreak and whatever. But I guarantee you that if you learn how to close a door in the chapters when it's time to close them, then you're one step closer to finding the person that you want to be in love with. So I want to encourage you all to continue to love yourselves. If you're in your single season, be grateful, right? Like I said, use that time to dedicate it to yourself. Be a little selfish with your time. Still be selfless too, right? Give to others, spend time with family and friends, but, be grateful for it, because you will find that person and you will eventually find something so beautiful if you allow it to come into your heart and into your life. So don't give up. You got this. I'm rooting for all of you. Anyways, thank you all so much for being here. If you like this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Give them a little motivation, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, although makeup can be a self-esteem booster, covering up what's on the outside won't truly heal what's on the inside. So take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.